You know what kills more relationships than cheating? It's not lack of passion. It's not even falling out of love. It's money. Couples fight about spending twice as much as they fight about sex. And here's the wild part. Most of them have no idea why it gets so heated. Today we're breaking down the psychology of why that shopping spree or surprise purchase can feel like a personal attack, and why money fights cut deeper than almost anything else. Here's the thing about money. It's never just about money. When your partner drops $300 on something without telling you, your brain isn't just processing numbers. It's processing trust, respect, power, and your entire future together. A study from Kansas State University found that arguments about money are the top predictor of divorce, not communication issues, not intimacy problems. Money. And it's because money represents everything we don't want to admit out loud. Let's talk about what's really happening in your brain during a money fight. When you see that credit card statement or hear about that purchase, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, fires up like you're being threatened. Because in a way, you are. Money is survival. It's security. It's the roof over your head and food on your table. So when your partner spends in a way that feels reckless to you, your brain interprets it as a threat to your survival. That's why you go from 0 to furious in seconds. It's not you being dramatic. It's your nervous system screaming danger. Here's where it gets complicated. You and your partner probably grew up with completely different money stories. Maybe you watched your parents stress about every bill. So now you feel anxious when the bank account dips below a certain number. Or maybe your partner grew up where money was tight. So now spending feels like freedom, like proof they've made it. These aren't just preferences. They're deep psychological scripts written in childhood that play out every time you look at your bank account together. Psychologists call these money scripts, and most people have no clue they're operating on them. There are 4 main types. Money avoidance, where you think money is bad or you don't deserve it. Money worship, where you believe money will solve all your problems. Money status, where spending proves your worth. And money vigilance, where you're anxious and secretive about every dollar. You can see the problem, right? If one person worships money and the other avoids it, you're not just disagreeing about a purchase. You're living in completely different psychological universes. Now, here's what makes money fights worse than sex fights. When couples argue about sex, it feels personal, sure, but when you fight about money, it touches everything. Your retirement, your parents who might need help. Every purchase becomes a statement about priorities, and every priority difference feels like proof you're not on the same team. Research from the Journal of Financial Therapy shows that financial disagreements create more intense and longer-lasting negative feelings than any other type of conflict. The resentment sticks. And let's be real, money fights have a power dynamic that's hard to ignore. If one person makes more, they might feel entitled to spend more. They might feel guilty and overcompensate by not spending it all. If one person gave up their career for kids, every purchase they make can feel like they're asking permission. That's not a partnership. That's a parent-child dynamic, and it breeds resentment on both sides. The person with less financial power feels controlled. The person with more feels like they're carrying all the burden. Nobody wins. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Financial infidelity. About 40% of people admit to hiding purchases or lying about money to their partner. Think about that. 4 in 10 people. They're not cheating in the traditional sense, but they're definitely breaking trust. They're opening secret credit cards, hiding shopping bags, or lying about prices. And why? Because they'd rather deceive than deal with a judgment or fight. That's how toxic money dynamics get. But here's the crazy part. It's not about how much money you have. Rich couples fight about money just as much as broke couples. Study published in Family Relations found that income level doesn't predict financial conflict. What predicts it is how differently you think about money and whether you can talk about it without losing your minds. Two people making $30,000 a year with aligned values will fight less than two people making $300,000 with different spending philosophies. So what actually works? First, you've got to talk about your money scripts. Sit down and ask each other, what did money mean in your family growing up? What are you afraid of financially? What does spending represent to you? Freedom, security, status, or something else? This isn't a one-time chat. This is ongoing, because your relationship with money shifts as life changes. Second, create a no questions asked fund for each person. Seriously, research shows that couples who give each other some financial autonomy report way less conflict. It doesn't have to be huge. Even $50 or $100 a month that each person can spend without explaining themselves gives you both breathing room and reduces that feeling of being monitored. Third, and this is big, separate the practical from the emotional. Yes, you need a budget. Yes, you need to agree on big purchases. But stop treating every financial conversation like it's a referendum on your relationship. Sometimes a purchase is just a purchase. Sometimes your partner isn't attacking your values. They just wanted new shoes. Look, money fights feel bigger than sex fights because money is everywhere. It's in every decision you make together. Where you live, what you eat, how you raise your kids, what you do for fun, it all costs money. And when you disagree about money, it feels like you disagree about life itself. The couples who make it aren't the ones who never fight about money. They're the ones who learn to fight about it without making it personal. They're the ones who can say, we see money differently, without saying, you're wrong and I'm right. So here's my question for you. What money script are you operating on that you've never talked about with your partner? Drop it in the comments. And if this made you think differently about your last money fight, hit subscribe, because we're breaking down the psychology behind everything that makes relationships complicated. See you in the next one.